June 26, 2026. Dear Overwhelmed Me. Ever have one of those days where you wake up and it just feels like the day will be off? Today I woke up and Papa Roach's Last Resort was playing and replaying in my head. I couldn't tell you for the life of me why. Was it because last night I took a leap and decided to put my life online? Probably. I'm both extremely nervous and super excited for this opportunity. If my therapist were still seeing me, she'd promptly tell me that two things can be true at the same time. I hate that. How can feelings so opposite both happen at the same time? How am I supposed to make sense of that? I can't. I don't. Mental health is so fun. It sometimes causes you to see and hear things you didn't, and it often forces you to believe things that aren't true. Recently, that has been my biggest issue. Believing things that are probably not true. For the entirety of this month, I've struggled. It was one thing after another after another. First, it was issues at my job. Then it was dealing with the loss of a pet. And dealing with someone threatening my pet. And more issues at work. And problems with my husband. And then I went to therapy. And I assumed, naturally, that going to therapy would mean I would tell her all my problems and all my issues, and she would automatically agree with me. That was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. You know, what I think I pay her for? That's not how it worked. I told her what happened. I cried about what happened. And the words she gave me in return told me that she didn't understand at all what I was going through. And that maybe for the last 7 years that I've been seeing her, maybe she didn't quite understand me. And so, being me, like I usually do, I got upset. Instantly upset. Probably irrationally upset. I finished therapy. I start to shut down. I attempt to process what I believe I heard, what I thought was said, and I spiral hard. Because if what she says is correct, everything that I've believed is wrong. Deserving anything good, all the times people have made fun of me or called me out of my name, all the times I've convinced myself that I was better than that, instantly became untrue. So I sat with it. Every 2 weeks, I go to therapy. So for 2 weeks, I sat in my anger with my therapist. And while I could have canceled my appointment, I dug my heels in further. No, I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk to her and I'm going to let her know that I'm angry. And so I did. Just that. Got into therapy, tell her that I'm mad, that I'm upset. But what happened next wasn't what I expected. I needed her to say, hey, why are you upset? What's wrong? What happened? And instead, I got, your feelings are valid. Your feelings are valid. Something people say when they don't obviously agree with your feelings, but they want you to feel better about how you feel anyways. At least that's how it comes across. So, me and my valid feelings got more upset and more hurt. And the more upset and the more hurt that I got, the more she didn't make sense to me. And so my brain overcompensated. It said, I have 3 options. She said, well, what are your three options? And what that looked like to me was option one, I stop therapy altogether. Wouldn't be a first time. I take pauses from therapy anytime I feel uncomfortable. Option two was that I continue therapy, but I find somebody new. And option three was that I acknowledge everything I've ever believed was a lie and go through therapy from that standpoint. For me, the answer was obvious. For her, I'm not so sure. So she said, well, I don't believe option three is a good option. I don't feel like you telling yourself that you're wrong is the right thing to do. Your feelings are valid. Again, whatever. I don't believe option one's a good idea because therapy is helpful for you. And then I start to panic. Where is she going with that? Because the only option left is option two. And option two would be me continuing therapy and finding somebody else. And that was not what I planned. That was not how I saw that going. And then she said, I'm going to take you off my books. Wait, what? That's not how that was supposed to happen. I was supposed to be in my feelings. She was supposed to make me feel better, forgive and forget, move on. Not what happened. So I no longer see my therapist. And me being me, I continue to spiral. And when I'm spiraling, I do one of two things. I either go into a super depressed mode where I bury myself under the blankets and eat bowls of cereal for all 3 meals and barely interact with anybody. Or I put more things on my plate so that I don't have time to think about anything. Did you know I just started a podcast and writing a book and a new job, and I have a new kid, and I want a new puppy. I want anything and everything that would keep me occupied from having to process that the person I have trusted for 7 years is no longer somebody I could talk to. Yes, theoretically speaking, I could call her. She even said, hey, if you want to be on my books, just call me and I'll put you back on. I'm way too stubborn for that. She said she would take me off her books. Done and over with. I could find someone else to go to. But that means starting at the beginning of everything that's happened to me and all the trauma, and who wants to do that, really? So instead, I just pile more things on top of me. I just become overwhelmed me. I don't take care of myself. I don't do the things I like to do. I don't do the things I want to do. I just do things so that I don't have to sit and process how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. Where am I supposed to go from here? So, what better time to have serious conversations with people, right? So I go to one of my best friends, known him for a long time. And I say, hey, this happened with my therapist because of what happened with my husband, because of what happened with work, because of what happened with my dog. Clearly, he's going to take my side. No, that's not how that happened. So he and I get into a fight. Well, I say fight, but it's really one-sided. It's me being angry and him not seemingly caring because he doesn't feel like he did anything wrong. And I'm starting to notice a trend that nobody's on my side. And if nobody's on my side, clearly that means that I was wrong. Because it has to be right or wrong. There is no middle. Middle does not exist. Gray does not exist. Right or wrong? I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, what else am I wrong about? If I could be wrong about small things, and I could be wrong about big things, Am I capable of making decisions? If I'm not capable of making decisions, how am I supposed to take care of myself? If I can't take care of myself, how do I take care of anybody else? See where this is going? See that spiral? Really easy to get stuck in. So for days, I have lived in that spiral. And then yesterday, I decided, if you're not going to see a therapist, you may as well start a podcast. Because those are equivalent somewhere, some way. So I did. And now I'm here, sharing my feelings with whomever cares enough to listen. There's that part of me that's like, yes, I want the world to hear me. And then there's that part of me that's like, are you crazy? What are you doing? Why are we doing this? But I guess this beats doing other things that aren't healthy. You know, those self-deprecating, self-harm type things. So I do this instead. I write what I'm thinking. I write what I'm feeling. And then I talk about it. I've always been really good at writing. I've always been really good at talking. I'm very blunt, and I'm very honest, and I'm very straightforward. It's probably the Virgo in me. I don't invoke feeling in lots of the things that I say. I tell you just what is. The sky is blue. The grass is green. That is dirty. That is clean. I don't explain the feelings behind it. They just are. So then they build. And they build. And then what do I do with them? Because no one at this point can be trusted. I can't tell anybody anything. No one's going to understand. No one's going to take my side. Everyone's going to say that I'm wrong. So what do I do? According to DBT therapy, I get to radically accept it. I get to say, hey, this situation happened, and it doesn't mean the world's going to come crumbling down. And I guess that could be true. I guess it isn't the worst thing that my therapist took me off her books and I started a podcast. It isn't the worst thing that I'm giving myself time to process what I'm thinking and feeling. It may even be positive that I sit down and write the book that I was talking about. That I enjoy life with my kiddo and my husband and my dogs. And I take the time to get back into shape and take care of me. But it sure didn't feel like that when she said it. That's the advantage of mental health. It's someone saying something with the best of intentions to you and your mind running with it and you not being able to control it or explain it. It's hearing the thing that's not said. I am really talented at that. If that was a profession, I'd be a millionaire. Unfortunately, it isn't. Instead, I get crippling anxiety, OCD, being bipolar. I get to deal with all the feelings, and all the thoughts, and all the emotions, all the time. And people love to say that it's just something you get to deal with. You take medication for it, you see a therapist for it, coping skills, copious amounts of meditation. That's great when you're in a headspace to do it. What do you do when you're not in that headspace? What do you do when you're spiraling? When all you want to do is tear your hair out, bang your head against the wall, go to sleep and not wake up. coping skills don't work so well when you're in the thick of it. Yes, I can breathe. I can take deep breaths. But deep breathing is the last thing on my mind. I am trying to make a roller coaster stop that I have no control over. It's going uphill and backwards and twisting around. And I'm stuck on it and I can't get off. And I don't remember consenting to getting onto it to begin with. Mental health looks like being handed all these symptoms and thought process and ways of doing things that you never asked for. I know that you hear a lot of the times like, oh, I'm blaming my parents for that. And while lots of people will say that that is just an escape, a coping mechanism, it's amazing the things that we learn from people around us. We become what we need the most. And sometimes we overly do that. So for me, I can't count on anybody. I just take care of myself. And if I can't count on anybody and I have to just take care of myself, everything has to be done by me. And because everything has to be done by me, there's a lot on my plate. When there's a lot on my plate, I feel overwhelmed. And when I feel overwhelmed, I can't do anything. But I can't ask for help because I can't count on anybody. It's scary. It's hard. It's lonely. It's lonely being in your head where you hear 50 million voices telling you to do 50 million things and everybody's questioning you and nobody understands why you're frozen in the moment. Why all you can do is scream, push, pull, shout, kick, hit. Yes, we learned as kids that's not the way we get our point across. But sometimes, just sometimes, that's all that we can do. So today, I wake up and I'm playing this song over and over again in my head, and I'm just waiting for the shoe to fall. Something bad has to happen. I get up. I get a phone call from a friend. She's pregnant. Haven't heard from her in forever. Super happy for her. And then I remember where I'm at on my journey with having kids and how that does not look like it's in the card for me. And usually that would make me extremely sad. And today, I was just happy for her. So I get up and I get dressed and I decide I want lunch. And usually my husband would say, let's eat something closer at home. Let's eat the leftovers. Today he said, let's go. I'll get the kid. And the kid said, let's go. So we all went. And we ate. And enjoyed ourselves. And then came back. And spent time together. Nothing bad actually happened today. Processing that thought. At the beginning of the day, I would have just sold everything I owned and told you that that was what was going to happen. Today was going to be a horrible day. Nothing was going to go the way that I needed it to. And now, as I sit here, 5 minutes till 10, I've had a pretty good day. I've laughed and I've joked and I've loved. And I mean, I've talked to everybody that I wanted to talk to. And there were times that my heart hurt. I survived it. So maybe, just maybe, it's okay to feel overwhelmed in the morning and survive the day. Maybe just because your day starts off one way doesn't mean it has to end up that way. Maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe I can take it one day at a time and figure out what I'm doing, how I got here, and where I want to go. So tonight, I will wrap up this journal entry and I will find my kid and my husband and probably annoy one of them as I'm really great at doing, and just enjoy that it was a good day. And then wait to process things all over again tomorrow. If you, like me, have to take it one day at a time, then I'm glad you're here. If you, like me, have all these things going on in your head, I'd love to know about them. I'd love to talk to you about them. I'd like to have a community of people who understand what's going on that didn't have to have a degree to do so. Yes, I am not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I don't take away from those people what they do. They are great at what they do. And sometimes it's just nice having someone there who's lived through it. So, just remember, today is another page in the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be written. Until tomorrow, love you loud.